What's up, humble farmers? Taiki here. So today I want to tell you a story of a time when I got rugged $70,000 on a crypto Ponzi scheme. So a lot of people know me from my 2021 YouTube videos back in the day on my main channel, where I would teach people how to Ponzi farm, degen farm, and also do some humble farming, right? And that's how I onboarded a bunch of people into crypto. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but the meta back then was it was very degenerate, right? The meta was understanding that everything is a Ponzi, but putting money into it anyways, because if you were early enough, you can make a lot of money, right? So I was checking the chain, figuring out what new farms were launching, putting money into it before anyone else, and then dumping all the tokens while people were trying to buy the tokens, right? So that was kind of like this rinse and repeat process that I was using to build up a pretty small bankroll into a medium to larger size bankroll. And this happens in bull markets, but over time, as it's like this idea, right? It's like, if you keep doing degenerate stuff and it keeps working, then why would you ever stop, right? At some point, it's gonna end poorly. But I had months of this process where I would just put money, pull out money, make money, dump tokens, and yeah, that was kind of the environment back then. So after I depleted the majority of the farms on the Polygon blockchain, the question was, where do I go next? And that's when I discovered the Phantom blockchain. Now it's called Sonic, but back then, even now, right? The Phantom chain is known to be a chain for degenerates, right? Like pure Ponzi's, financial experimentation, and I'm like, okay, it sounds like it's perfect for me, right? And when I was monitoring the Phantom blockchain, this project called Tomb Finance went to zero. So Tomb Finance is an actual Ponzi, right? So if you think about Luna and UST, right, it's basically the same mechanics, where if there was more demand for UST, the algo stablecoin, it burned Luna. And that's kind of, we all know what happened to Luna, but Tomb was slightly different. So UST was pegged to the dollar, right? But Tomb was pegged to the price of Phantom. So it was an algorithmic coin pegged to a volatile asset. Complete Ponzi, right? And that's kind of why it died. But the reason it piqued my curiosity was, this billionaire, phantom whale called Harry Yeh. This guy.
What's up, Miami? Phantom pump, Tomb pump, everything pump.
If Phantom is 50 cents, then Tomb is 50 cents. But if Phantom is, what's the price right now? 340, 330, 330? Okay, it dropped. Tomb is also 330. However, because there's, is it 353? Are you kidding? Tomb pump! Okay.
What is Tomb? I'll tell you exactly what Tomb is. Tomb is life, and life is Tomb, all right?
This motherfucker here, he decided to take over the project. He literally, a Ponzi literally collapsed, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it mine.
So why? Well, it's a lot of fun and it makes a lot of money. That's why I do it.
Everybody was saying to me, oh, Tomb's a Ponzi, blah, blah, blah. So why did I save Tomb Finance? Well, it's got amazing yields. So I was like, okay, I have to save Tomb.
I'm like, okay. It sounds interesting. So a billionaire backer is backing and basically took over this Ponzi project. I'm like, okay, this is perfect, right? He's gonna try to keep this Ponzi going as long as he can. But if I just ape early and just farm for a month or two and leave, then I can just make money. So that was the thought process for me entering Tomb Finance. So the funny thing is, back in 2021, I actually made a video called The Case for Tomb Finance. It was a 48-minute video, and I was wearing this farmer hat, holding this rake, just so people don't take me too seriously, right? Basically saying this thing is a Ponzi, but if you're up for it, here's a strategy, right? And the strategy was providing liquidity. So like I said, Tomb is pegged to the price of Phantom. So if you pair Tomb with Phantom, it's like you're holding a Phantom position. So if you're bullish Phantom, like I was back then, you can effectively get paid over 1,000% APY for holding this LP position. Which, if it didn't collapse, it would have printed money, right? And to simplify things, I put this LP position into an auto compounder. So I don't want to get too technical, right? But you pair Tomb with Phantom, right? You have this LP. It pays out in more Tomb tokens, right? And I wanted to sell that Tomb to Phantom so I can increase my LP position.
Because I just want to keep pressing the button every single day, 4 hours a day. Maybe at some point somebody can build me an auto compounder here so that I don't have to keep pressing.
What I didn't realize, what I should have considered is, okay, like this is already a Ponzi, like a risky Ponzi, but like I'm adding like an additional layer of smart contract risk. You know, and like I talked all about that in the video, right? And you know, if you weren't back then, like you don't know what was going on, right, back then, right? If you weren't like living in it, but like it was completely degenerate. Another like example is like on Polygon. I'm like one of the videos that like really catapulted my channel back then was like this thing called Dino Swap, which also was like a complete zero, right? But the idea is that, okay, like the Polygon Foundation, VCs, like reputable VCs, are pouring money into this thing. They're incentivized to prop it up as like, you know, as long as possible. So from a retail perspective, just get in day one, like formed 1,000% APYs, like dump like, you know, a few weeks later. And then, you know, I kind of came up with this meme called like the Stegosaurus pattern, right? It's like, okay, like the token's gonna go to zero, right? But just get in early, just dump, and, you know, just dump on the VCs. So, you know, similar concept, right? That was kind of like the meta back then. No, nothing like this is happening in the crypto markets right now, right? People are way too smart. You know, like no one's aping into these things anymore. But that was the meta. So, you know, I had this LP position, right, for Tomb Phantom, put it in this auto compounder, and it was gone the next day. So yeah, like, it was pretty brutal, you know, like like when I started crypto, I didn't even have 70K to my name, you know, and near the end of the bull market, I was just getting complacent. I lost 70K basically overnight. It was brutal, right? Because I also like made YouTube videos. I'm like, oh my God, like I made this video, like I got rugged. I was like very apologetic, and I'm like, oh my God, like this sucks, right? It's, you know, it's really tough. And, you know, in terms of like lessons learned, right? It's like, should you really be listening to like a person like me, right? A person that got rugged 70K in like a phantom Ponzi, right? Probably not, but you know, I mean, if you made it this far, I guess you're kind of interested, so I'll talk about general lessons learned anyways, but I guess like not even for me, right? But I think what happens in crypto is that, you know, as we get later and later into the bull market, there's like this desire, this increasing desire to make more money. Just because you go on social media, right? Twitter, YouTube, whatever, and people are just flexing their gains. And, you know, comparison is the thief of joy. And if you're up like 50K and that guy's up like 200K, then it's like, fuck, like, I feel like I'm sad, right? But like, obviously, like you're up 50K, like why are you so sad, right? I think it always helps to think about, okay, like what can that money like buy me? Because in crypto, like crypto money does not feel like real money. I've been full-time 5 years. I mean, it still doesn't feel real, right? Like I'm buying these internet magic money, right? Like internet coins. They're named after like random, like it makes no sense, right? You know, trying to explain crypto to a layman, like it just doesn't work, right? Just because the things we buy, the things we do, it's so degenerate. Like it actually makes no sense if you think about it, like looking back in hindsight. But we still do it anyways because it might have made sense, right? Because if the goal is to make money, you pushed your edge. And at that time, my edge was depositing money early into Ponzi's. As weird as that sounds, that's not something I'm doing anymore, right? I'm more focused on like more fundamental bets, maybe, right? And trying to be more humble, right? As my channel name suggests and whatnot. But you know, like we all have, you can't be humble if you didn't experience like degeneracy, right? At least like that's what I think. Like that being said, like I should you be listening to a guy that got rugged in a Ponzi? Like probably not. But you know that's something I think of. And also, you know, like I said, like you have to value the money, right? Because money in crypto doesn't feel like real money, right? Like I aped 70K into a Ponzi, but if someone like asked me, hey, like, would you like to add guac to your Chipotle bowl for $7? I'd be like, no, fuck you, right? Like $7, fuck you, right? But then I'm like, oh, 70K, yeah, sure, right? Because it's all numbers on the screen. So you know, I try to, you know, respect money more. You know, I mean, it's a lot easier said than done. But anyways, that's a story of a time when I got rugged for 70K. I'm trying to get better, right? I think, you know, it's still good to satisfy the degen itch sometimes, but I think I've become more prudent. But you know, what do you guys think? Like, what was like your worst rug of like the past few years or past few cycles, right? You know, I think Tomb Finance was pretty brutal for me, just because it kind of shook my confidence. but I think that was needed, right? I think we all need to be humbled sometimes. You know, I've lost so much money over the years, made so many stupid decisions, and I think that's kind of what made me the investor or trader, or like the man I am today. And I wouldn't change any of that, right? So, you know, yeah, like what was your worst rug pull? Like what was, or maybe not even like the worst, right? Like which rug did you learn the most from? You know, because sometimes like getting rugged by your friend, right, for a little bit of money is like you learn more from that than like getting rugged for like 10% of your net worth. I mean, it's both equally bad, right? Anyways, yeah, thank you guys. You know, hopefully I don't get rugged anymore. I probably will, right? I think if you're not getting rugged, you're probably not taking on enough risk, ironically, right? Which is kind of a crazy concept to think about. But I think that applied to the bull market in 2021. Probably not anymore, as the crypto markets become more institutionalized. But you know, crypto is crypto, right? It's just a place for degens to just gamble with their money. All right, thank you guys. See you guys another time. Bye-bye.
I want you guys to learn from the mistakes that happened with the Tomb project, but also I think it's important that sometimes when things go wrong, you start to see, okay, do you double down? Do you try to fix the problem and make things better? Human nature, it's always easier just to run away when there's a problem. So I think the big lesson for me and for everybody with Tomb Finance is there's a strong community in Phantom. If you have a problem, something happens, if there's an exploit, anything else, don't run away, because at the end of the day, it's just money. Money comes and goes, but your reputation, integrity, and everything else is the most important. So Tomb Finance is now professionally managed by a hedge fund management team, like Quantum FinTech Group, so pretty much like my team. We're a hedge fund, 545, 5% management fee, 45% carry, 90-day redemption lockup period, $25 million minimum investment. Then you can join.